Okay, I'm going to take you through a brief demo of Information Steward with the focus on GDPR. So one of the main things with Information Steward is the ability to be able to reach out and collect metadata from all of the different sources that may be available in the organizations. We get a holistic view of our systems landscape and the data that's held within those. We bring all those back, and those are loaded in and available through Information Steward through this directory. So we can get information on BI systems, data integration, relational databases, ERP, whatever our landscape happens to be, in one single place. So then we can start to look at that, investigate information within there, and start to document that. So hierarchically, I can just, wherever you see blue, I can drill down. So I could say, let's look at this database over here that exists. And it's got a number of tables in there. So let's drill down to the tables. And it shows me the different tables that are available. And I can choose a table and drill all the way down and see that for the particular system. So I can see the column names, I see some technical names, the data types. So I get all of this information, but the four or the five columns over here relate to GDPR. Yeah, and these are ones that we have set up as saying we're going to actually capture this information related to the fields that are contained in tables. So I can start to capture relevant information for GDPR. So in this case, we're putting, is this field applicable for GDPR? Is it anonymized? Is it high risk? Is it low risk? Have we identified an owner? So I start to document that information within the system here. So I can navigate around and find things, and when I see things, and which looks like personally identifiable data, I can tag that. So phone, and I've tagged that across here that this is for GDPR. Once I've tagged things, I can use the search on here, and the search allows me to look through the whole of this metadata repository across all of the various systems. And I can do a search. So I can choose, let me just look, and so I'll look in the production system perhaps, and let's look at columns. Let's have a look for ones where we have identified GDPR, and that was set to a yes. So this will search through and provide us with a view on what data is available from GDPR. So here we go. So in this one here, there's the address, there's the city, there's the birth date on here, and I can simply click on these and it will take me to the table, where that data exists. So as soon as I start tagging that data, I can then have this all searchable. I can find information, show me all the GDPR for this system, showed me all of the information that's related to this particular system over here. So that's one way, and I start to tag all of this metadata. I've got it all in one place, so I can achieve that. However, it's easy when you see, we have information which is easily legible. You can tell that it's personal information. However, it's not always that easy, and I need to look at the data. I need to get that insight into the data to understand, have we got personal identification information in there? So let me go to Data Insight, and this one we start to have a look at the data itself. So I've got my systems on the left-hand side here, and I can open those up and it will show me the tables that are available within there. And I may have a table, for example, in this case, JV13. Does that have any personally identifiable data in there? What's contained in there? So this is where we start to just access the data, and start to use the power of Information Steward to do that. So we can run profiles against that. So I can run different types of profiles. So I'll just show you a quick example, show you columns. So columns, it allows me to set a task that I can keep rerunning this task on here as well. So just give that a name. And then it allows me for this table here, what type of column profiling do I want? So I want to do some medium distributions, look at the words. I can set what sort of sampling rates. We're only looking at certain subsets of the data just to get an idea of it. We don't have to run it against everything. And I can save and run that particular data. So it will run that profile in the background. So that can run. One of the things that's pertinent to GDPR is the ability to do what we call content profiling. So actually run through the data and try and identify what is the content within the data. It's an auto documentation feature, an auto tagging feature for personally identifiable information. So what contents can we look at? Well, I can show you. So if we go over here and we say look at the content types, Then it will show me on here, these are the various content types to automatically identify. There's a person, whether it's a last name, a first name, whether it's an address within here. So we look at, whether it's people, whether it's firms, whether it's addresses, emails, telephone numbers, all of those things we automatically identify. We also allow you to add to this as well. So I've added one at the top here for credit cards. And so I added that, and so that whenever we're searching the data, credit card's an important one for us as well. We'll identify that as well. And I'll show you how we do that. So we'll search for all of these particular data types when we do the content profiling. So let's have a look at this table again. And I open that up, and I can see all of the fields here. Not very descriptive, as you can see. Couldn't possibly identify those, whether they've got personally identifiable information in. But if I look at the results of the content type, it's added this. It's automatically documented and found out what is within those particular fields. So we have particular dictionaries that allow us to do this. We have logic that allows us to do this. And we bring all of that together and run that through the profiling. So very, very powerful engines on here. So we can see we've got a first name, a last name, we've got a postcode, a country. And if I click on the postcode, then over here, it will show my confidence level within that. So it will say postcode, yep, 81% of the data in here is postcode data. And it shows me that information on here. So whether I can drill down right to the detail and see that information. So, it's picked that out for me. I'm had to search that. The credit card one, it's picked out there. So it's saying these are 100%, these are credit card ones over here, and it's picked out that one. So that's one of the custom fields that I identified as well. So it's picked that one out. If we look at this, there's a couple of fields. There's actually 3 fields they're missing on there. So field 9, field 10, we haven't got anything within, and field 1 on there. So I can look at the basic profiling that's run through on here to try and get some idea what was contained within those particular fields. So if I look at field 9 and 10, there's lots of statistics we provide. We provide the min, maximum, average, the string length that contained, the completeness, whether it's got any blanks within those particular fields. And what I can see on here is there's 100% blanks on field number 10, so no data within there. If I look at number 9, I can look at the values that are picked up in number 9. Let's have a click on there. It will show me the different values. So there's just a yes and a no field. So we're not going to tag that for GDPR. If we look at field 1 on here, so this one didn't have anything in either. So field 1, and I look at the values that are contained on there, then I can see that actually these look like, and as someone who understands our business, I can look at this and say, well, actually, that's actually the membership number. Yeah. So that's our customer's loyalty membership number on there. So that is personally identifiable, but it doesn't know about that. So what we can do is we can teach the system that. So we can click on the field within there, and we can say associate content type, and we can create a new content type on there. So we can say membership number, and we can save that. Okay, and we save that information. And we're done. So now it knows that is membership number, and if we search again and we profile another table, we've automatically added that to the knowledge base on there. It understands that this particular pattern that we're looking here, so we've got this particular pattern type pattern that's very common to them, will be used, and we'll use that for identification purposes. So that's the profiling piece. We looked at metadata. We looked at looking at the data to automatically document it. The last piece I want to take you to is what we term the Metapedia, which is allow us to be able to classify and group all this data together. So for GDPR purposes, I can say what data in my organization do I hold which is personally identifiable. And how do I break that down? So we allow you to be able to create your own structure to be able to map that to your business. So in this case here, we've got 3 different categories of terms that we're using within the business. We're going to capture customers, employees, and suppliers. And if I move into customers, then we can see we've got contacts and geolocation, identity, web social. So we've got a number of things, and I can build these up. So we say, actually, we hold for contacts, address, email. So if I was to click on something like phone as an example, it then shows me what type of information we're holding in our organization, which is customer, which is GDPR relevant, and is in our system somewhere in a variety of our landscapes. So I've got two. So we've got the landline number, we've got the mobile number on here. So let's just choose one of those and double click on it. So it says we hold information related to customers on landline numbers. We give some description around that and information around consent and everything within there. We've got information over here which tells us about who's the author, who's the approver, what it's also known by. Sometimes we talk about telephone, sometimes it can be mobile. We can put this information in here. We can add additional attributes we want to capture at this level. So is it applicable to GDPR? Is it sensitive information? We can tag this particular term. So we can say, mobile number, yes, it is. Yeah, absolutely. So identifiable within there. We like to do other things. We like to link this to other terms, we're capturing. So we've got the mobile phone number that's linked to the landline on there. But the key part here is to link this to the data, the metadata that's coming in our data tagging exercise on there. So what we can see for landline number, this is where we store landline number in our organization, in whichever systems they happen to be. So we have one central place where we can go to and say, where is the landline number held in all of our various systems landscapes on here? And if I want to add new ones to that, I can do that. So I can go in here and I can say associate with objects. And it will automatically search through the repository, and it will look for anything to do with things that which in the names or the descriptions there. So it's pulled out and it said there's telephone, there's mobile. So I can choose something on here and I can say associate that with that term. I can do my own specialist search where I could be, something I tagged with GDPR. I could bring all those back up, choose from the list that relevant telephone number, associate those with the term as well. So now I've got this one central point that I can go into and say and understand for my organization what objects do we store that are personally identifiable, how do we classify them, and where do they exist within the systems. And from within the systems I can drill into those, and where I've got additional annotations on there, related to that particular system. Is it anonymized? Is it encrypted, this particular field? I can drill through from here. But we've got one central place that we can go to that categorizes all of the GDPR information in our organization. So that's what I wanted to cover on Information Steward with GDPR today. Where do they exist within the systems? And from within the systems I can drill into those, and where I've got additional annotations on there, related to that particular system. Is it anonymized? Is it encrypted, this particular field? I can drill through from here. But we've got one central place that we can go to that categorizes all of the GDPR information in our organization. So that's what I wanted to cover on Information Steward with GDPR today. Where do they exist within the systems? And from within the systems, I can drill into those, and where I've got additional annotations on there, related to that particular system. Is it anonymized? Is it encrypted, this particular field? I can drill through from here. But we've got one central place that we can go to that categorizes all of the GDPR information in our organization. So that's what I wanted to cover on Information Steward with GDPR today.